Hi everyone, this is Best Hour. I'm your host, Elizabeth James. Best Hour is about Christian Counselling Services. The name is Best Counselling Services. It's rooted in the Word of Christ. And the reason we're bringing this to you in experience that I've got is that marriages are broken, children are broken, everything around people, it's about why. What we're doing is not to ask you questions, not to judge you, but to be there for you, to empathize with you when you're going through that anxiety. With Best Counseling Services, we will be bringing in a panel of also of expertise. They will be talking about different areas of brokenness and other topics that we'll be introducing. These people are expertise in counseling, in pastoral. They'll be able to answer your calls. They'll be able to answer you whenever you have any questions. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Best Hour. I'm Elizabeth. I brought back my panel of speakers due to what we were discussing last week. And don't forget that this program is mainly on brokenness. Brokenness when you are abused, not brokenness in the gospel way, in the way that God wants you to come to him and you're broken. No, brokenness when you've been abused, when you have no control, you're out of control. I brought back my panels of speakers. I want you to understand the depth of what we're speaking about. I know that just last week or yesterday, a 90-year-old woman was raped. So you can imagine what we're talking about. How is that woman going to feel? On my left, I'm going to start with Laura. Laura, who is a scientist, and she was talking about the brain, where all these things come from. I'm trying to join that together with how broken that 90-year-old woman will be. A 90-year-old woman being raped, a child or a boy being abused. This is what I'm talking about today. So you can imagine, Laura has got some answers for us in the brain. Dr. Roach is there. Good evening, Dr. Roach. How are you today? You're looking glamorous. I like the African attire. You have to get me one. And again, we have Pastor Ufoma. Pastor Ufoma was hitting it so well last week. I really enjoyed what she was talking about, and that is so good. Pastor Ufoma is here. She's a counselor. She's a pastor as well. God bless her. Thank you very much. And I'm enjoying that blue. Did you guys just plan to wear blue today? Oh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And here comes the mama, Dr. Pastor, is Pastor Titi. I love her so much. I love her dearly. She's here to give us another support again, to put more light. She's the one that was telling us about all the ways of abuse, and she made me to realize how an abuser, could condensate so low, and the dirt of it as well. I really enjoyed last week's topic. It's so enjoyable. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you. And again, I have Laura here. She's traveled all the way to come and see us. Laura, we had her husband with us, who shared a lot with us last week. These are the things we're talking about as a Christian counselor. I go through this every week. I have people who will just tell me, this is what I'm going through. And that's why we tell you that on this show, no fluffy. There is nothing hidden. I say to my panel, if you have anything to hide, please don't come on my show, because I want viewers to see us as open. We're very, very open. So that's why I want to welcome back Laura again. I call her Sister Laura because she's so dear to me. She's my daughter, And I thank you so much for taking time out of work to come and talk again, share some light on this topic on brokenness, where it comes from. You're the one telling us about what did you call it last week? Hippocampus.
If you remember, it's a difficult one to say. It's great, terrific. Good evening, viewers. It's great to be on the show, and thank you so much. Yes, we'll carry on from where we left. Yes. I love research because it gives us answers to the things we don't understand. So we were talking about, someone who has gone through abuse, and what is the genetic makeup behind that. Well, as we know, our whole bodies make of different genes and different proteins, and they're all involved in how our cells regulate and function. And genes can be turned off, they can be turned on. In order to make the protein that's required.
Because I'm sorry, viewers, my biology is not that good. I'm a counselor. I did some part of psychology, and that's it. So they will understand.
So all the time, there are different genes being regulated, and the body is in a very good state, so it's in homeostasis. And what will happen is that someone who is in a stressful environment, there is an imbalance. So that gene is not, made correctly. So that will prone someone to be more vulnerable.
You've just said, oh yes, because I need you. Somebody is stressful right now. Thank you, Dr. Titi.
So,
hold that thought.
As I said, the goal of research is to understand what makes someone so susceptible to depression. What will make, you take two individuals. Why is it that one person will become more depressed in the situation, and whereas the other person will become less depressed? And as I told you before, I think a few weeks back ago, I talked about the neurotransmitter serotonin, and this transmitter is involved in, it's really a key in affecting our mood. You have to help us to be melting this I know there's some scientists as well like you there, but for some of us... So a neurotransmitter is just transporting different information to different parts of the brain. So for example, serotonin, and this is a key neurotransmitter in the brain because it's involved in mood. And what's been shown is that people who are depressed have lower levels of serotonin. Another name for it is called 5-HT. And in the study that was done back in 2003, and what they've shown is that it's about 800 individuals looked at, and they looked over a 5-year period, so quite a long time. And what they showed is that this the serotonin transporter gene, and this was a gene that was actually so in our genetics, our makeup, we inherit a gene from our mum and a gene from my dad. So
am I transferring something to our viewers? Did I transfer? I hope I transferred a good thing to her.
We hope so. We're blessed you very well. You've got good young genes, so I'm hoping that's going to follow through. So when we inherit this gene, so there's a short form of this gene and a long form of this gene. So the short form is less efficient, whereas the long form is more efficient. And what's been shown over the 800 individuals that they looked at over a 5-year period, those with the short form of the gene are more susceptible to depression. So that would, when you looked at this gene, that would make somebody, under a stressful situation, maybe for example, losing their job, or going for a divorce, or abuse, any stressful situation, that gene plays a key impact in someone's life.
I really appreciate that, because I know somebody will be watching and be saying, what has that got to do with counseling? I tell you, it's got everything to do with counseling. Because when you're broken, completely broken, take for instance, I started the show opening the floor by saying a 90-year-old was raped. How does she move on? Who is going, that kind of woman, I have to personally visit her. I have to talk to her that it wasn't her fault. It wasn't because she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I have to choose things for her. This woman needs more love now because she's coming. Heaven forbid that woman was raped before when she was young. Now in court is like it's starting all over again. Having used that word, I remember one day I said to Dr. Titi, it's happening again. What happened? I started blanking out before my exams. I could not graduate. And I said, that thing is happening again, because I did study law. And when I found myself in another place of stress, this is what is happening. That woman will be very stressed right now. So viewers, this is called Christian Counselling. Before you know what you're doing, you have to get all the information and say, oh, I see. This is where, and it's not everybody will have the opportunity to come to Christian counseling, to go to the pastor, to go to a scientist, but hearing us, talking like this, that will help you. That's why I'm bringing out the stressfulness that old woman will go through, Dr. Titi. Tell the viewers, they're watching you and they want to hear. Lord have mercy.
What that old woman will be going through, I don't know. She might have been an old woman, but what about a 2-year-old? A 2 innocent year-old, a boy or a girl, who cannot speak to anybody, who doesn't want to speak to anybody, retrieved in on herself or himself. I will come back to that. Abuse could leave you with so many, I would say, series of unpleasant flashbacks. It can leave you with psychological wounds that fails to heal on time. Only God. This includes unhappiness, livid thoughts like suicide, loneliness, pressure, all sorts of things. And this is where you need God most. And good people around you. This is where you must talk, speak. Speak.
But doctor, you are saying they should speak. Somebody is telling them not to speak. How do you handle that? You're telling them speak. It's not an easy thing because I was abused. You know, pardon me, viewers, to call her the way I call her. I want to be free with you guys because you see out there. I said, get your tissue, get your water, and I've been broken, and I know what it is to be broken. I am trying to compose myself, but if the tears roll, let it roll. That's to tell you I'm real. There was nobody for me to talk to. I remember vividly till today when we went back to Africa, and that guy would call me, and I don't know what they call that thing. I didn't know what it was. I was an innocent child who thought I was playing with a toy. And I didn't know as I'm doing it like this, it was meaning something to them. And it was two of them. I can still see the room in Africa. Because when you said what you said, it hurts, but it was only God that healed me. It was only God that brought me back and said, you know what, it's not your fault. Until God did that to me, and I'm praying for somebody today, that God will heal you, that you will talk. Talk. That is why I said to God, if anybody touch my children, they are in trouble, Lord. Strip them. I made sure my children come to me. I said to them when they were growing up, come to me. I didn't hide my abuse from my children. I told them. But you know, Dr. Titi, you're talking about talk. You said the other time I almost broke down because I'm like, talk. How does a 1-year-old talk? Talk. How do you know? Because I know that Pastor Uvuma did share something with me some time ago. How does a 1-year-old now begin to say they were touching me, apart from their reaction? So, please.
Oh, well, it's a big question, and it's a broad topic we are treating. It actually takes me back to what I've been through in life myself. You know, I know it's not easy, but you go try. I'm taking. Let me take it to Psalm 34, verse 18. It says, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That spirit is crushed already. It's only God that can mend it, and it's only God will not, come from above. It will use people, around. That's why you need to talk to people. Don't keep it to yourself. And this is where resilience comes in. The meaning of resilience, according to my research, says jumping back from bad times and describing your ability to cope. Some people also describe it as the ability to bend instead of breaking. You bend, instead of breaking. It can also be the ability to persevere and adapt when faced with difficulty.
So that means some people, some people will not adapt to that condition and say, well, let me take it.
Yes,
as it is.
As it is, and they heal gradually. It's not something that can heal overnight, it's just the way it is, You heal gradually. through prayers, words of the Lord, you know, listening to positive music, talking to good people around you, friends and family, you know, around you. I think that's where that comes in. And you need God to do that.
Thank you very much, Pastor Titi.
You're welcome.
Thank you very, very much. You know what, Pastor Ufuma? It's really touched me. I didn't think this would really touch me the way Dr. Titi has just expressed this. And I know that God heals us.
Sure.
You know, and it's amazing how some people could be, let me use that word, animals. Even animals are better than some people. Because it's an insult to pet lovers who will say, oh, my animal, which is true. But you know, the Bible makes us know a dog is a dog. A dog is a dog. Is that not it? That's all for me. Stress. Why would that person go through that? He or she is watching you. We had somebody last week who was abused as a child. And he never understood what it was. You hear what they're saying. But that person is not with you. He said, let me take it. Is it okay to take it? Is it okay to say, let me just bear it? Or to come out now and let's pray together. And let's give it over to the Lord. I know the Lord called us soul mender because he is the first soul mender. Dr. Titi said it. He will not come down. He will not come. The Lord is not going to come down to you. You know that, Pastor Fuma. The soul mender. How does it feel to be in that kind of position?
Thank you very much one more time, Elizabeth, for the opportunity again to deliberate on this big and very broad topic that we have been continuing. Talking of how easy it is for someone to speak up, or how difficult it is for someone to speak up, especially when one have gone through an abuse. Looking at maybe the cultural background of such a person, like putting it in the African context, it would be a taboo for a young lady to come up to the parents to say, I had this experience. And so, fear is driven up in the hearts of that child to say, oh, this is happening to me. How can I relate it to my mother? Or how can I relate it to my father? How can I relate it to somebody I think around me that I could trust? Is there anybody around me I can actually trust at this time that will not betray my trusts?
When you say in Africa is a taboo, is that because the culture does not allow it, number one? Because I'm sure not everybody will say you shouldn't talk about it, that I've been abused.
Yeah. Well, to God be the glory that there is development. In the time past, these are things that are swept under the carpet. That you don't want anybody to know about your child, that your child has been abused. Because it comes up as a stigma. And everybody's seeing your daughter or your son on the street, they label that child. And so because your child is going to be labeled, it's like, don't talk about it. But thanks be to God that a lot of changes have taken place. People have come to the understanding that we can't keep quiet any longer. And so people are now being encouraged to speak. And I'm sure there are some good parents out there that you were asking Dr. Titi about, how can a child that is 1 year old speak?
Yeah.
Obviously, the child cannot speak. But it's expected that the parents of that child should keep a close eye on their children. At the close of the day, you wash for your babies. You clothe them. Why don't you take time to examine your child? Is there any difference? Is there any feeling on your unusual feeling? When you touch that child, is there any way the child reacts? No. In such a way that you begin to pick up something.
That child has been abused.
That something has gone wrong. Is that child unnecessarily being afraid? Is that child suddenly becoming quiet? Is that child becoming suddenly withdrawn and all sorts of things?
See the child withdrawing because like Dr. Titi mentioned something. I didn't withdraw. I became sexually active. I was happy with everybody. No. That was just me putting up. Because I didn't know what was happening. Nobody's ever told me this stick is something else. It's it's not in my body. I know my own is flat, but I'm seeing a stick. You understand? Thank you very much, Dr. Titi and Pastor Ufoma. You know what? There's something I wanted to ask Dr. Roach the last time that we were here. I'm becoming a bit emotional. Don't worry about me because the reason is this thing is, it's annoying in the sense that hippocampus, hippocampus brings it back, and you know I'm healed. I thank God for that. I could smile about it, but I'm talking about somebody being broken. I don't want to see anybody being broken. That is why God took me to counseling school. I could have been a lawyer, but you know what, Dr. Titi? I know our time is spent, but share with them. Share with somebody on abuse. Sexual abuse is not, it's not an easy thing. It's not something that anybody should go through, particularly a 90-year-old or a 1-year-old. A boy being abused by a woman. Dr. Roach, you were here with me last week. What happened? What will happen in that kind of situation?
So hearing the gentleman speak was an eye-opener. You know, I was scared because prior to that, I thought it would just be the abuse in that kind of setting would be an older man abusing a young girl.
Like what we hear in the church?
Yeah.
The priest abusing the little boy.
Or something old. But then he's just come out that it was an older woman that's abused him. So bringing that back home now and into context, I mean, and going back to what Pastor Ifoma said, you know, if you suddenly notice any change in a child, you know, a child who just wants to stand there when you're dressing up, who wants to watch adult stuff, you know, you need to pay particular attention. Because like he said, it actually destroyed him. And it took him a lifetime, over about 2 decades or 3 decades for him to finally get rid of it.
And it was just last month.
It was just last month that he had an encounter. Like you said earlier in the show, you just have to have an encounter with God for you to get to that point of healing.
And, you know, Dr. Roach, somebody is still asking you. You don't understand. I can't tell my dad. I can't tell my mom. But you know, I just feel like killing somebody.
Well, that's why this show is on. Get that phone number on the screen and call. NSPCC is out there as well. But bringing it back home, because the thing is with bringing it back home, looking at the African culture and how we've been brought up, you're brought up to just be seen and not be heard. You know, but if you are in that kind of position, you can talk to your parents. By all means, take that number. Everyone has got a phone. If you don't have any credit, text. Just send a text. I am being abused. And we will hunt down that person. I mean, we don't hold confidentiality here. I mean, not that we will tell the police if the police needs to be informed. So if you are being abused, speak up. As a young child, as a woman, as a man. Just speak up. Take that phone number, send a text, call.
I remember as a child, I used to read Psalm 35. And the reason I love that Psalm so much, it said everything. And when like their mother, I was doing this for them. And when they was sick, I put on sackcloth. Nobody knew why I chose that Psalm. It was my protective Psalm. It was a Psalm that I go back to. Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you, viewers, for calling us, telling us about your activities, what you're doing over the week. We're going to challenge you again. There's another challenge. Go on, Dr. Roach.
I'm going to say, if you will dare to make yourself happy, if you will dare to release your mind, go skydiving.
Pastor, what have you got?
And I'm going to say, rust for a day.
Oh, my God. Okay.
That's a good one. Yeah. Mine says, save up. You don't need much. Say, spend New Year's in an exotic location. Get out of
Wow. So, you know, we're going to almost end of the year. Go out now. Go and do something. Honestly, that's what I did when I was abused. I went out, do something.
Oh, yes.
They might look at you. You have a voice, you know. And I would say, go deep fish, you know. Go fishing. If you've never gone fishing, I've never gone. So maybe that's another challenge for me. I'll tell you about it.
Different.
Go fishing. Go fishing, please. And catch one and eat it. That means you're healing. Catch one and eat it. Laura, where have you got?
I've got go for a midnight picnic.
Oh!
That's a bit daring.
Be careful. That's
daring.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? I love you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything you've been doing, the feedback. Keep that phone ringing. Support us. It is only through your support that we can keep this going on. I know all of you that said, oh, we want to see you again and again. Thank you very much. But another thing, I promise you something. I'm not just going to give you. You're going to answer the questions that I'm going to ask you. This beautiful book, Brokenness, Surrender, Holiness, by Nancy Lee Demos. It's a very good book. I want to give it to the person that is worth it, the person who will answer my questions. So until then, we say, be an eagle and stand tall. You are told. God bless you. We love you. Bye.